any fight, it's Haley and Adrian's fight. Can you see it? Well, not to worry, because in this episode, we're going to take a really close look.
I'll say something, because I have a big mouth and I'll say whatever I want.
She's probably one of the most sarcastic people I've met.
He'll become very quiet. I'll ask what's going on.
I usually just ignore her, and that just drives her nuts.
I ask too many questions and I ask why. As soon as you ask why,
yeah, when she does that, it gets really, really bad.
just big fight central.
Haley and Adrian are a young couple. They started off as friends. 6 months ago, they decided to be boyfriend and girlfriend. In that decision, they also found out that they started fighting. So I've asked them to bring their relationship and to bring their fight.
Oh my.
We're going to put it under the relationship microscope. We're going to turn up the power. We're really going to have a look at that fight.
I'm very sarcastic.
I could take it in small doses, but like when it's too frequent, just I can't handle it.
I'm trying to be straight up and honest, and I guess he's trying to relieve himself from the honesty that I'm giving him.
This goes on and on and on until we pretty much give up on arguing.
He'll disappear for like 3 or 4 days, and I'll be by myself. So like, Adrian, trying to get a hold of Adrian, try to fix things, and he'll just ignore me for like 4 days.
I don't want anyone to be around me, and that doesn't do any good because we're not solving the problem by not talking. It's really bad.
If I was a little bit nicer and he was a little less sensitive, then things would probably go a lot smoother.
You guys have been together, what, for 6 months now?
Yep, almost.
Almost.
Okay. How did you meet in the first place?
We both got free tickets to a concert. And I was sitting with my friend, and he's standing all by himself. I just sat there, just like, oh my God, this guy's hot, but he's probably 16 because everyone else is like 16. Then I saw him again at a club the next day. I'm like, oh my God, this is the guy I saw on the weekend.
She celebrated I'm at 16.
Yeah,
We celebrated that you were of age. Okay. So what did you think of her when you first saw her?
When I first saw her, I was just like in awe. She had the most beautiful smile I'd ever seen. She's the only person that ever made me nervous, like in my stomach. So.
And how about for you?
he's very, very caring. He rates me poetry. And every time we see each other, usually he'll bring me something little. Or he'll have something really nice to say when he sees me.
I just love putting a smile on her face. It's almost an addiction.
That's a good addiction to have, I guess. And I understand you have something we might be able to get a peek at. Is that right?
Yeah, we have a scrapbook. It's got
our history.
Pretty much everything we've done together. So it started from the day we met because I put the concert ticket from the show we went to into the binder at the very front saying it all starts here. This is a bunch of memories from the time that we met. And it's just built from then on, and it's pretty chronological actually.
Yeah.
We take a lot of pictures, we do a lot of stuff, and I keep, we kept wristbands from our arms, we keep fortunes for cookies, we keep a lot of little things that we can just stick in our book.
Yeah, what people would consider junk is valuable to us.
Halloween, that was awesome. Jason was the devil.
With light up horns.
Yeah, with light up horns.
For both of them, their ability to communicate, to use art, poetry, scrapbook, they give you a hint that these are two fairly insightful people. So if you push them a little bit and ask them to be creative with their own problem, they probably will be able to express things or think things through in a number of different arenas. Art, poetry, scrapbooking, maybe just one of them.
Christmas time.
Santa.
Santa, remember what Santa said to me? You can sit on my lap.
I was ready to take on Santa.
The scrapbook helps Haley and Adrian visualize and remember the key moments in the relationship. In the first couple session, Joe will use a similar visualizing technique to draw a map of their typical fight.
What's the crossroad in the relationship?
We get along great, but it's like every couple of weeks we have a silly argument. It's always small things, though. It's not like ever anything big.
The pattern the fights go in is always the same. It's usually I will say something the wrong way, or I will say something sarcastic, and then he'll ignore me.
Right.
And then I'll be like, Adrian, let's talk. And I'm like, I don't want to talk. And
Yeah, I usually freak out and just like stay away from me.
And then it gets
Okay.
bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So there's a pattern in all of
Yeah,
it.
there's a pattern.
You know what? I'm going to take 2 seconds to draw exactly what you said. So it starts off over here, and what do?
I say something stupid.
Okay, something stupid. The fight pattern comes to mind when Haley and Adrian tell us that they have a great relationship except for the fighting. And so I say to them, is it the same fight all the time? And they think, well, it might be. It sort of follows along the same lines. And as soon as they say that, pretty good guess that in a relationship that's overall great, this one fight is happening over and over again. The place that they begin is where Haley is upset, and then she puts that into sarcasm. He becomes insulted or hurt by the sarcasm. He pulls away. She becomes overly worried. He doesn't answer the phone. He doesn't answer the pager. He makes no contact whatsoever. And then at some future point, maybe a day, maybe the next day, they make contact. She calms herself down. And then at that point, she tells him everything that's wrong.
I know how upset she is, and I feel like I don't feel really good about doing that at all. And then I feel really bad, and then that's usually when we start talking, trying to start fixing things.
So what are you doing when he appears? What's happening for you?
I'm willing to talk because I want to get this over with.
Okay.
I think she's just happy to hear from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy to know he's alive. Because when he disappears, I'll send him a text message or something saying, "Are you alive?" And I don't get a message, and I'm worried.
Now, when you say, "Are you alive?" are you really worried?
Yeah. Especially if we're fighting, I'd like to know that he's still around. Not to talk right away, just to know he's okay.
You know, I sort of look at it for a second like this, and I think, well, okay, so what do I see? You know, now make it farther back so you can't see all the little names and all the little ideas and stuff. And you can see it's a circle with many turns. So we're going to look at how we can get out of it from here, or maybe from here, or from here, because at different spots along the way, each one of you will take leadership in getting out of this.
All right, you said something very interesting. Draw a map of your fighting cycle, a road map. Now, if that's not going to start a fight, what is?
Well, maybe you shouldn't draw it yourself. Maybe you should ask the therapist to draw it. Seems to go better when the third person is drawing the map.
This is an important map, though.
Yeah, a very important map. For a couple that's fairly new in the relationship, it's an extremely important map.
Interesting that right off the top she would say, most of our fights start because I say something stupid.
Right.
Taking a great deal of ownership for that.
Well, she says most of them start at that point. He says, oh, well, she's sarcastic. They have this sort of, the fight begins here, the fight begins here, the fight begins here, but the fight is a circle. The circle begins in all different kinds of spots.
Hence the road map. Joe.
Haley and Adrian came to St. Lucia to take a close look at the way they argue. By mapping out how they express themselves during a fight, they're beginning to get a different perspective on Haley's use of sarcasm.
Certainly for Adrian and Haley, we see that this can be worked through. The sarcastic piece has nothing to do with what's really going on. In the end, the problem is sarcasm, which is masking or covering up some of the things that she would like to say that she's pretty sure are going to be upsetting to Adrian. So the real problem is not sarcasm, the real problem is she has no way of expressing things that are upsetting. Tell us a little bit about this sarcasm, upset stuff.
I'm not quite sure. I can tell people when I'm mad, I can tell people when I'm happy, I can tell people when I think this and when I think that, but when I'm upset, a lot of it is I don't like people seeing me upset because I don't like making other people upset. Adrian has only seen me cry like twice.
Right.
And if I'm by myself, I can cry all I like. Mm-hmm. But when I'm with him, it just doesn't come out. I can't do it.
So you tell yourself, be a trooper, don't let him down, don't disappoint him, all that kind of stuff. But 20 minutes into it, he has no idea what's going on, but you're being quite sarcastic or...
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time. No. Usually I can suck it up, but sometimes it's just, if I'm in a mood or something like that, just don't mess with me.
Right. But if you're in a mood, don't mess with me means here comes the sarcasm. It doesn't mean I'm going to talk about I'm in a mood right now or that kind of stuff.
Usually means here comes the sarcasm.
Adrian seems like a pretty safe guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get the sense that you have to worry about anything if you just decide you're going to tell him you're upset. I'm not sure what he's going to do, but it sounds like he won't disappear.
Yeah.
It sounds like if you just tell him you're upset, he'll stay.
Yeah.
And if you're sarcastic, he might disappear.
Yeah.
But do you feel that it's safe to tell him?
I can tell him anything. I just don't know why I don't tell him when I'm upset.
Well, it's because he'll get upset. That's what
exactly.
Your first choice has always been to be sarcastic and not to make him upset. And now the next choice is, should I use sarcasm or should I just let him be upset?
Yeah.
And the answer is?
I should let him be upset.
And Adrian's going to have to get upset.
I don't like making people upset.
I know. But if you want to be close to him, he's going to have to be upset.
So to help resolve conflicts with Adrian, Haley must avoid substituting sarcasm for how she really feels.
Thank you. You're serving first.
Although Adrian may get upset, Haley will actually improve their chances of stopping a fight before it starts by being more open and direct.
I think there's a hole in my racket.
I'm not being nice, am I?
Just remember, I love you.
Stop!
Waiting for it.
No.
Whoa. Oh.
When she makes a sarcastic comment, you've thought it was towards you and you've been hurt.
Yeah.
She's telling you, actually, this has nothing to do with you. That comment towards you is just a way of saying, I'm upset about something, or I'm not talking about something, or I'm hurt about something. Our hypothesis was that Haley is sarcastic and that you're sensitive. This is a new hypothesis now. Hypothesis now is that Haley doesn't express herself, and if you don't catch it at some moment when she's under a lot of stress, that she becomes sarcastic. I don't know if Adrian knew until today that the sarcasm is just a way of you saying, I'm hurt, I'm upset.
Did you know that?
A little bit at times. Like sometimes, like just hearing it, I'm like, okay, she has to get me, like, because I don't fully understand sarcasm.
So really, this becomes an issue of expression, an issue of, you know, taking a relationship and starting off and starting to think about expressing yourself and how you express yourself and how important that is to the relationship.
No matter how old you are, it's difficult to express exactly how you feel, whether that's in an angry moment or just in a calm moment. Haley seems to use sarcasm as a tool.
Right.
Is this working for her?
Well, it's not working for her in the relationship, that's for sure. I mean, if you use sarcasm in your family of origin, you know, the family you grew up with, it's still going to be your family. If you use sarcasm as a tool in your relationship, it's questionable how much the other person, the other party, is going to want to go with sarcasm. I mean, Haley is expressing something with sarcasm. The interesting part is that sarcasm has nothing to do with what she's expressing. So this is the figuring out part. If you're upset about something, why on earth would you choose sarcasm and something that's insulting to the person you want to talk to? Why would you choose that route to get to that spot?
Haley and I talked a little bit after and believed that we got some pretty efficient tools to break our patterns and to work for the better.
I think he finally understood what it feels like for me when he disappears on me, and he got to understand really why I'm sarcastic, and it was really interesting. The smile you show filters the dark sky. I love the way you smile, shining every soul so bright. I like that. I like that.
By saying what she really feels instead of being sarcastic, Haley can avoid the first step in their fight pattern. Now Adrian must overcome his tendency to disappear when he's upset.
I gotta try to do something so I don't just disappear.
It's not like you just went in the kitchen. You just, I mean, she says, I'm trying, I email, I voicemail,
She tried it all.
Yeah, that's right. Pigeon, carrier pigeon. Right. But you can't be reached at that point. You can't be reached, or you don't want to be reached, or whatever.
And I feel bad for doing it. But this is what drove me crazy, because like I can't help myself from doing what I do, and then at the same time when I do this, it does this to her, and it's just it turns into a big mess.
When you work at this, let me tell you what you do, and then we'll come back to it, okay?
Okay.
This is what work at it means. So you become very sensitive inside yourself to that last feeling you have before you disappear. And then instead of disappearing, you say to the person, you know what, I really feel like disappearing. We better stop for a second.
And if I come out and say that, then that means that's pretty much a cue that I'm willing to talk.
Right.
Yeah.
And those cues are what we're looking for. We already know the pattern. You knew the pattern whether you saw it drawn out or not. You knew the pattern before you came.
Yeah.
Now all we're doing is working to better and better, so that if we can catch it before, that's great. Mm-hmm. If there is some sarcasm, we have a bit of a plan around apologizing and stopping. And then at some point, if we do that part really well, we probably could avoid all of this, or not go too far in that direction, or do this less, or
whatever. We can create a happy circle, hopefully.
A happy circle. I like that. Oh, the happy circle. All right. Okay. That's a great
one that's very small, not with so many turns in your head.
the circle with many turns, as you coined it.
Haley and Adrian have learned that the pattern of their fights is something that can be changed. But in order for Haley to say what she really feels, she needs to trust that Adrian will not disappear when they have disagreements. The new pattern requires Adrian to stay and focus on understanding why Haley is upset, even if it upsets him.
Yeah, that's the one thing we talked about. Like, would you rather be mad or upset? I said upset. So if I had to choose my poison, I'd go with upset.
Okay, all right. So, Adrian, you and I talked about disappearing. What have you talked to Haley about so far? What have you talked to her about and said to her about this?
I told her that usually when I disappear is because I'm not sure exactly what I'm feeling, and then I usually put myself in a defense mode. I just want to get away.
So you talked to her very specifically about the choice that you make between saying, I feel like disappearing right now, and actually disappearing.
Doing it, yeah.
If he says that to you, will that be good enough for you to change the route or change the path or change what's going on?
Yeah, because then I get at least one feeling out of him rather than, I don't know, see you later.
One is better than none.
Exactly.
We're aiming for better, Joe.
Yeah.
One is good. One is better. Right. Yeah, right. One of the things I want to do is I want to just take out the chart that we started with at the beginning. So what we start to see is that if you do get stuck in this pattern, you know there's a number of exit doors along the way.
Yeah.
When the two of you came and we talked about this being the sarcasm oversensitive problem, our first hypothesis, we were really looking for change. That hypothesis suggested that you have to change and be less sensitive, and you have to change and stop being sarcastic.
Yep.
The second hypothesis, that this is about expression, that this is about that, that's about growth. It's not about change.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're celebrating that. A lot of people in therapy think, oh, I have to change, And it's nice that you're able
to do now.
Oh, yeah, right. Thanks a lot, Joe. But, the truth is that it is something to celebrate when it's growth.
Yeah.
When it's really about, okay, that's who I am. I'm just going to grow and do things in a different way. In a really different way.
Really great young couple. You can certainly learn a lot from them, even though they are young. It seemed to be quite important that you take your fighting pattern and start to dissect it. What should you be looking for?
Well, that's the under the relationship microscope piece, where you take the fight and then you enlarge it and enlarge it. Couples can do it. I have to be honest with you. It's more difficult to do just the two of you together because you can wind up fighting about the pattern because it's usually a hot topic. So we're fighting about the fighting. The third person becomes very important because this is an exercise where you're objectively looking at something. So it's important for the couple, if they want to do it, to set it up as almost drawing it together and then talking about it afterwards.
Okay.
And so it takes a little bit of skill to do, but when you do it, it's absolutely marvelous to see it in front of you, to just see it. There's something that belongs to us.
This whole fight pattern has just been going on. It's gotten to a point where it's almost ridiculous. We pretty much have a new pathway ahead of us, which I feel so happy about.
Like, I was kind of thinking when we came, we can learn in 4 days. But I've actually learned a lot, and it'll take us a while to be able to use these steps and to use these techniques properly. And hopefully we will break the cycle that we had before and have a new cycle, the happy circle, whatever Adrian called it.
To Haley, we can now paint a better picture, illustrating an unbelievable future as we will always stand side by side.
Adrian, I want to say that I love you so much, and I'm glad we got a chance to fix the only thing from what I saw is not perfect between you and I.
I love you with all my heart. This is like a new beginning. Love, Adrian.
You're the only person I have ever met that made me smile the way you do. I love you and you make me so happy. Love, Haley. You think you have effective ways of communicating and it may work with people you run into on the street, but people you really care about, they may not use communication the same way as you do. So you have to really adjust and work on it together.
It's like a new beginning, like a new happy beginning, so we can start a new volume. We have one chapter done, now we're going on to another chapter. And please let there not be a problem with volume 2.
5 months after returning to Canada, Haley and Adrian admit they still argue, but that their fights are shorter and less frequent. Adrian says their relationship has really improved now that they understand why their arguments turn into fights. And Haley says she saves her sarcasm for her sister.